Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you on Business Today Television. So far, so good as far as the markets are concerned. We are now at 11 a.m. The first 1 hour 45 minutes have lapsed. The markets are still in the green, a bit off from the day's high, but that's only understandable. Now, the mood question is this a dead cat bounce after yesterday's gap down? A fresh 8-month low, one of the worst openings that we've seen in 5 years, and of course the overall pressure that global markets are. Only time will tell, ladies and gentlemen, but let's first take a look at the broader markets. We track 19 indices for you, all 19 are in the green. That's a positive. As far as the advanced decline ratio is concerned, 2000 shares on the NSE are in the green versus 480 that are in the red. So it's a very nice 5:1. For every one share that is down, there are 5 that are up. This is a very, very positive development. Look at the gainers list. You have top move coming into the PSU banking index, 1.9% higher. The Nifty Alpha 50 and the mid cap select index, all made up of quality mid caps, are the two top performers. The Alpha 50 is up 2%. And the mid cap select index is also up about 2.1%. These are positive developments. In the NSE 500, 1.2% higher. Out of 500 shares, 415 are in the green. Let's look at the Nifty. It's climbed above 22,405. That's a very, very big positive. If you see the intraday move of the Nifty, it opened gap up with about 3,500 points. Touched 22,500 in its opening quotes. The high was 22,577 and then slipped all the way back to 22,300. So it's taken a correction of intraday of about 277 points, and from that it is still now in an uptrend. These are all very positive developments. Now let's look at one very, very important thing that you can see as far as Nifty is concerned. Amongst the most active shares, you have HDFC Bank, 0.2% higher, Reliance, 0.5% higher, Tata Motors, it has corrected 50% from its top. Yesterday was terrible, 1.7% higher. Bajaj Finance is in good shape, ICICI Bank is in good shape. Defense counters, HAL, Mazgaon, Cochin Shipyard, Garden Reach are all doing well. Banks in particular are in top form. Bank of India, amongst the PSU giants, 2.5% higher, 109 for you. As I have mentioned, PSU banking index is the third best performing index in the market. SBI and PNB are up 2.7 and 1.4% respectively. There are two parts of the market, ladies and gentlemen, what is happening. One, which the broader market is showing signs of support. Remember, the domestic institutions purchased shares worth 12,000 crore rupees yesterday when there was complete carnage on the Lal Street. The index itself ended about 4% lower, but it was a gap down of about 1100 points. Progressively things improved, mainly because of short covering, but it was a terrible, terrible day. Financial foreign institutional investors again were net sellers to the tune of more than 9,000 crore rupees. So it was DIIs who saved the day. It's your SIP that is working the magic. Now, where is this money going? To my understanding, a large part of it is going into public sector enterprises, which over the last 1 year or so had corrected fairly sharply. Now, institutions, particularly mutual funds, are looking at a strong balance sheet, domestic orientation of a particular stock that they want to go to, a dividend yield if it is good, wonderful, and of course predictable revenue and predictable profit streams. PSUs, apart from being really at the lowest end of the valuation chain, have all these 4 points, and therefore they are acting as the best medicine at these trying times. I'll also request the PCR to kindly show the CPSE index. The Nifty CPSE index is now up 0.7%. Yesterday's gain was from a low of 55.21 to a close of 58.20. So a lot of dip in this index was purchased. There is also an ETF of the CPSC. You can look at it. We will be analyzing it at 2 p.m. today. Now, what is the most interesting thing that the market has thrown up? We'll also look at some quality data in terms of where is the rally or where is the bounce really coming in. Look at Cholamandalam holding. At 1688, the counter is up 8% and it has a volume of 2.4 times the 5-day average, about 5,90,000 shares. Look at companies such as PG Electroplast, 7% higher, 872. There is a burst of energy in the housing sector, mainly on account of expectations that a rate cut is in the offing as far as the MPC meeting is concerned. Remember, 9th of April is when the credit policy announcement comes in. So that is going to be a very, very big positive. In fact, if you look at the Nifty setup, companies that are a part of the NBFC space, there is a huge gainers amongst them. Shriram Finance up 4.2%, Cholamandalam Finance up 3.5%, LIC Housing Finance 3.2% higher. You have Bajaj Finance 2.3% higher, Muthoot Finance as also PNB Housing, CanFan Housing. All of them are showing very, very strong traction because there is definitely an expectation of a rate cut which will further reduce costs for these companies. And of course, apart from that, look at 5-Star Finance, 728 rupees, and it is up 9.1%. When was the last time that we saw a 9.1% rise in 5-Star Finance? On a weekly basis, 5-Star Finance is up 5%. So these are quality themes that are working extremely well. One space that has been neglected for long is the paint companies. Remember, a fall in the dollar, a fall in the crude oil is very, very beneficial for all companies in this sector. Asian Paints was closing at its highest level intraday yesterday. It's now up again at 23.91, up 2%. Look at Berger Paints. Again, you see a lot of enthusiasm for this one, 523, up 2.5%. Indigo Paints is also something which needs to be looked at. This counter is up for the second day at 954. It's more than halved, remember. It was at 1700 rupees somewhere in November of 2024. From 17, it has gone all the way down to 900 yesterday, and this is where some support is coming in terms of buying. And the sector favorite, Pidilite Industries, take a look at it, also up 200, also up 62 rupees, 2.2% higher. So these are bottom fishing areas that are happening. In terms of OMCs, it's not exactly a good day, mainly because of the steps that the government has taken in terms of increasing excise, which OMCs have to bear. So crude oil prices, which have dipped substantially, would have been immensely beneficial for HPCL, BPCL, Chennai Petro and MRPL, but somehow that did not work out. You have 363 rupees, still up 3% on HPCL. Let's take a look at BPCL, which is at the moment trading 281, 2.2% higher, 7 rupees 50 up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the broad structure of the market. All crude oil derivative products which have crude as their input costs are doing well, which is paints, which is OMCs. All spaces which are linked to interest rate regimes are doing well. Therefore, housing finance companies, NBFCs in particular, and to some extent even auto companies and the real estate space. If you look at how auto is behaving at this point of time, there is an interesting development. Eicher is up 2.4%, Tata Motors is up 2%, Bajaj Auto 2%. All these, I mean, apart from Tata and Bajaj Auto, these are internal facing organizations where domestic markets are far larger than overseas exports. they are doing pretty well. Entire banking chain is doing phenomenally well, led by PSU banks like Bank of Baroda, 2.6% higher, Can Bank 2.1% higher, PNB 1.6% higher, so on and so forth. Now remember, is this the original question, a dead cat bounce or something better? To my understanding, this is a dead cat bounce for two reasons. One, nothing has changed in the global environment. In fact, Mr. Trump has threatened an additional 50% fresh tariffs on China from Wednesday, from April 9th. Today, 34% tariffs, fresh tariffs on China become effective. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the short covering that continues. To some extent, maybe bottom fishing in sectors that are not so correlated to exports or the global markets. Therefore, you see PSU banks, the entire PSU lot doing well, PAIDs doing well. So, one needs to be very, very careful at higher levels. What will decide the mood on the Nifty is basically 22,500. If the index goes above 22,500, then you will see a major change as far as the sentiment is concerned. But for the moment, one needs to be really very careful. If you really need to buy something critically important, look at the CPSE ETF, which we will be discussing at 2 p.m. today. Thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot that's happening on Business Today Television. Stay tuned, and there is some important developments post the break. Thank you for watching.